Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to Season 9, Episode 1 of Tap to Craft Podcast. I am Denny Luce, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the dog whisperer, and my favorite Florida man from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Chris McKenzie. How you doing tonight, Chris? And of course, what is in your glass?
Oh no, it's replaying in my ear here. Okay, there we go. I clicked our
Is
live.
that right?
Yeah, sorry. 8 things just happened all at one time. So other than that, I'm doing pretty damn good, Denny. And in my glass this evening, I've got a beer from Cincinnati, Ohio, from Rhinegeist Brewing. Got their
Ooh, nice.
barrel-aged Cafe Ink that focuses on there at all. But this is a Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee. This was out of a whole series that I got when I ordered from the company that rhymes with Ravor. And I've had just the regular Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. There's this one, which is coffee. There's a cherry one in the fridge. And then there's one more. I can't remember what it is, but these have been so good so far.
Nice.
I guess since I've had one sip off of the second bottle that I have, but these have been really good. It's July in Florida, so it's stout season, right?
It is always
Mhm.
stout season.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. So what about you? How's your day going and what's in your glass this evening? And hi, Connor. I see you hopped on here too.
All right. Well, it's going well now that we're here chatting about beer, but it's a busy Monday. Mondays are always busy, and it's not as hot as it will be here soon. It was only like 95 today, so it's kind of giving us a little bit of a break before it gets to the 105 for the rest of the week, I think.
Yeah.
But I am drinking a Jim Dandy Can Wild Bill Amber Ale. This is what they were calling on their board at the brewery an English Amber Ale. I don't know. Is there an English Amber Ale? I don't know.
Guess we'll have to dig into that.
If there is, that's the Amber Ale that I really like because this beer is fantastic. And I had a 20-ounce pint of it at the brewery when I was there this weekend, and I gave this beer a perfect 5 cap rating. And it's interesting because Chris, we've mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of amber ales. I can drink them. I like them okay. I prefer red ales a little bit above that because I think they give a little bit more, compromise with you have that malty front, but you have a little bit of extra hop to give you a little bit of extra stuff in the back end. But this beer, for one thing, it's a beautiful beer. Look at that
nice copper color.
Beautiful copper coloring. I mean, just absolutely beautiful, and smells like some really nice light toffee. Not a more caramelly, but it's on the verge of being like melted caramel to getting to the toffee phase, right, where it gets a little bit more of that brown sugary smell. Just on the lighter end of that, but my gosh, this beer is so good that I had to bring home a crowler for myself, and I bought a crowler for my friends Corey and Kim because she's a big fan of ambers, and I thought she would really appreciate this. So that is what is in my glass. Jim Dandy's Wild Bill English Amber Ale, in case I didn't say the whole name. So yeah, so as you can tell, I went to Pocatello this weekend. Haley needed some work on her house, and so we jumped in the car and drove down and did some painting and hung some shelves and did some odd jobs that needed to get done. And while we were there, of course, we had to visit Jim Dandy, and I wasn't disappointed. I got their 4-year beer. I've been able to enjoy. I was there when they first opened and got to enjoy some of the first beers they brewed and put on tap. And then I was there. I was able to get each of their 4 anniversary beers to date. They're 4 years old on July 4th, and I'm just lucky that I've been able to get all 4, and they've all been really good too. So now I'm going to take a sip.
Okay. Now, are you taking the sip though? What were the other 3, or what were was that one of the beers, the Wild Bill?
Wild Bill was one. Well, no, the other 3. No, as far as the other anniversary ales, I don't remember all of them. They were called year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. I believe they were all like IPAs or New England IPA styles, if I remember correctly. But I did have 3 beers that I drank when I was there. And I didn't do any, normally I do 10-ounce pours, but they only had 3 that I really wanted to drink. And this was one of them. And Haley's got the mug club, right? So once a year, they offer people to buy a limited amount of these 20-ounce cups. And what you get, you have to bring your cup in, and basically between the hours of 4 to 6, like happy hour times, you get $1 off, or you basically fill that up and you get $1, or you get it filled for a discount price,
a 16-ounce price.
A 16-ounce price for 20-ounce pour.
Yeah.
And so I drank all 3 of my beers that I had 20 ounces, and they were all very enjoyable. I will talk about the 4-year beer was good. I just mentioned that. It was a New England IPA, and I enjoyed that one. But I'll talk about another one that I enjoyed as well during our new and noteworthy. So stick around for that. Okay, Chris, you ready to get the show started?
Yep.
Okay, let's do it. Yep. But before we get too far, we always want to let anyone new listening to Taps of Craft podcast know what we're all about. We are an educational podcast focused around celebrating all things craft beer, because we want to assist you, our listener, along in your craft beer journey and adventures. And you're listening to episode 209, recording on Monday, July 25th, 2022. And we are live on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to join us during our recording session, just hit us up the Monday before the show releases and watch us record this thing live. And in this episode, we will be discussing the history of the Belgian Golden Strong Ale, as well as some style notes on that beer. Again, we're continuing down our Belgian beer history. We've done quite a few already. I think this might actually be the last one we do, because I think I've already covered the other ones in previous episodes that we did a long time ago, because we are on our 9th year now. We're first episode of season 9.
I just said that to somebody earlier. This is year 9 of this.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And of course, you can count on Chris and I having some great conversation along the way. And Chris and I would like to thank all of our Patreon supporters, because this episode is brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen, Bill Schlemmer, Amanda and Kevin Argauer, Mark Reedy, Mike Blanchard, Tara Carlson, and Jim Kudsall, who are our virtual producers. And Tom Byrne, Jeff Seiler, Johan Halberg, Chad Lamassa, Mark Church, Eric Grownley, and Matt Knight, who want to buy us a virtual beer. If you enjoy the content we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your host, or buying us a virtual beer, or even being a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/tapthecraft. Phew. Okay.
Wow.
Well, I see that Mark Reedy is actually is on. He's watching.
Yeah,
welcome, Mark.
Yeah, he said no more working Monday shifts, just so he could tune in live.
Perfect. I just got done reading your name, so I'm glad that I saw that you were on here watching us finally.
The things that our listeners do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it wasn't all for us, but we'll take it as it was.
That's okay. So as far as feedback from the last show, I didn't look today. Maybe we got some feedback last minute, but I got home from work a little bit later than I was hoping, so I didn't have a lot of time to do any extra prep work. But if you want to contact the show, there's a few ways. First, I'm going to say, leave us a voicemail. We love to have your voicemails. You can do that by calling 208-536-3359, or if you want to remember an easier number, it's 208-53-ODDLY, ODDLY. Leave us your voicemail. We love to play it on the air and answer your questions or talk about what you have to say. Or if you are a little bit shy of getting your voice out there, you can go old school, leave us an email at tapthecraft@gmail.com. Or if you're more on the social stuff, although I'm really starting to tone down my social stuff like to almost nothing, you can go to Twitter and Instagram at tapthecraft. And of course, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/tapthecraft. And you can visit our website at tapthecraft.com. Okay, Chris. Well, you know what? Before we did this, I didn't put this in the notes, but I wanted to talk about our next contest. We just gave away last episode a Frost Buddy to Miss Tara Carlson, and we have 2 more to give away. For the next one, that will be about 3 months. You have 3 months to enter this contest.
Whoa.
And I wanted to do something a little different, because there's a lot of different podcast apps out there that people are listening to us on. One of them is Spotify, and there's close to 300 people, I guess, listening to us on Spotify. Yet we don't have any ratings, and I want to make a change to that. So this contest is going to be focused around just taking a few seconds or a minute or a couple minutes to whatever app that you're listening to us on. If you have the ability to rate us, the whole show, please give us a rating, write a review, whatever you have to do. Send us a snapshot of that to our email address, taptocraft@gmail.com, and you'll automatically be entered into the contest for our Frost Buddy. And this is kind of trying to promote the people that are listening on other platforms, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, whatever. I can't remember all of them, but I don't have access to all those numbers. So I don't know how many people are doing that. Let us know. And again, send us a snapshot of your review or whatever, and we'll enter you into that thing. If you've already left a review other places, go ahead and leave reviews on new things as well. And if you do that, send us a snapshot. We'll enter you in the contest for that as well.
So
if you did leave an iTunes one, take a snapshot of that, send it to me. I'll enter you in the contest for your iTunes review that you already submitted.
Okay. So
but I want to make sure it's all people that are still like paying attention and listening that are into this.
So you want just Spotify or
anything?
Okay. So
and you can have multiple entries. The more you do, the more entries you get to win the Frost Buddy.
You sure you want to take the iTunes ones?
The ones that people send me. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, because we have a lot in there that maybe aren't listening anymore. I want to make sure that people that are listening and want to do this, that they can. Because we have like 44 iTunes reviews, which is pretty good for most podcasts. But I want to raise that to 100 if we can.
Well, I mean, one of them's mine.
Yeah. yeah. So that's all I want to say. We love giving stuff away, and we want to do something that wasn't just last minute. 3 months based, or we'll say 2.5 months to go ahead and enter this contest. I'm hoping we have a lot more entries. We only had 4, which is fine because whoever enters is more than welcome. But maybe sending a voicemail is too hard for people, so they don't want to spend time to do that. But maybe this is easier.
Do you realize how many people I talk to now that just go, I don't really want to call anyone. I just want to send them a text.
Okay. Well, we don't have a way of texting us. You have to send us an email.
And you can text the show on Messenger. I mean, that's
okay. If we do the Messenger on Facebook Messenger, Chris, you better get on that because I'm not very good at Messenger.
I like the idea that you have because I'm trying to type a post on Facebook specifically.
Okay.
It says, leave us a rating on your favorite podcasting app to be entered into our next Frost Buddy giveaway.
But make sure they include a snapshot, like a screenshot or something that we can see. Because I don't have access to see reviews. I don't know I don't have access to all that stuff. So, and in Spotify, it doesn't. I don't think it just tells you once you have enough people that actually rate you, it gives you a star rating next to your name. But every time I go and click on it, it says not enough ratings. I'm like, well, why isn't there enough ratings? How come 300 people can't just go and quickly rate us? But because of that, I needed to make sure that if they send me the snapshot that they rated us, then I can enter them. But I won't know if they did it because there's no report that gets sent.
Okay. So leave us a rating on your favorite podcasting app to be entered into our next Frost Buddy giveaway. You have to send us a screenshot to tapthecraft@gmail.com to be entered.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
You can
all right, that's enough of that. Enough of that being said. I wasted too much time, but I told Chris I had an idea back for our next one. So, okay, Chris, let's continue this beer conversation because now it is time to untap the craft and see what our listeners are drinking according to Untapped.
So starting about 11 hours ago, Jeff Seiler checked into a Green City by Other Half Brewing at home. And he said, this is really nice. Other Half does delicious IPAs. Hoping to score some more of this beer in a couple of weeks. Fingers crossed, he said. Well, for those of you that don't know, Other Half is based out of New York.
New York, yeah.
Matt Knight jumped on into his comment and said, you coming to New York? No one responded. So he gave that one 4.25 caps. I checked into Love Hazy IPA by Almanac Beer Company at Gasparilla Pizza and Growlers. Where else do I go for beer anymore? When it's right down the street. No notes on this one. I had a weird pizza today.
Okay, talk about it.
And weird in a good way. I was just enjoying this beer, but I ordered, it's their Gasparilla pizza. If anybody's familiar with a Cuban sandwich, it's basically a Cuban sandwich on a pizza. So nice. there was ham and roasted pork and onions, and it was a mustard base. So it wasn't regular tomato sauce, it was a mustard base, and there were pickles on it too.
I do like pickles.
Oh my gosh,
I do like pickles on my Cubans too. Yeah.
Oh, so good. The beer I gave a 4-cap rating. If I could rate the pizza, Connor, it would have been a 5. No doubt about it. It was so good. Next on the list, Alex Fuchs is checking into a couple of beers. Yeah, Connor said so good. He's drinking a Magnetic West by Great Notion at the Three-Legged Crow Brewery. Oops, dropped my cap.
That's his homebrew.
Yeah.
Brewery. Yeah.
Okay. He gave that one a 5-cap rating.
He always gives his own beers. Oh,
well, this was from Great Notion.
Oh, Great Notion. Oh yeah, he loves Great Notion.
Yeah, he was just drinking it at home. But he also checked into a Four Seasons of Mother Earth summer 2019. That he gave a 4.25 caps to. So no notes on either one of those, but I love the can art on both of them. Next on the list, John W.C. is drinking a Lord Octopus by Hop Butcher for the World. He's drinking that at Target. And if your Target has beers like this, I want to go to yours. Super smooth tropical fruit juice, big orange mango and pineapple, and a slight green hop presence at the end. 4.25 caps for that one. Eric Gronley said, when Connor mentioned that pizza last week, it sounds like a must-have. Yeah, I agree with you, Eric. It was I'm a believer in it now. I had no idea. And man, it's so good. Bill Schlemmer is drinking a Mechanic in Maine by Coho Brewing Company, checking in at the 2S Cottage on Bass Lake. Citrusy, very nice pale ale brought all the way from Cape May, New Jersey by my friend Tanya, whose nephew Justin is the brewmaster at Coho. So you got an inside scoop on some beer. That's good. 4-cap rating for that one. Only want to read this one because I've never read a check-in for this beer before. Matt Knight is drinking a Coors Banquet, which
what do you give that?
3.
That's a good rating.
Just above average. Listen, I actually like that beer.
Me too. That's the one American domestic mass-produced beer that I actually will drink because I do enjoy that one too.
Yeah, that one's a good one. The Banquet while eating for some pizza. Jeff Seiler also checked into what he called a special beer for his 1500th unique check-in. A long time bucket list beer for him. He said it is absolutely delicious. And this was a Sip of Sunshine by Lawson's Finest Liquids.
Yes, I want that one too. Bucket list. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you give it?
4.5. So 4.5.
So
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely delicious. Thanks to another Jeff for bringing this back from New England. I owe you big time. So yeah, glad to see you checking in on that one. He's drinking it in his B cups too, of course. Let's see, scrolling on up. I had to read this one. Jim Kudzall is drinking a Baseball IPA by Calvert Brewing Company. He just said hoppy like a West Coast IPA, but light in body, a hybrid of IPA and amber. He gave it a 3 3/4 caps. Now, Denny, there is a game that I played on Nintendo growing up called RBI Baseball. And the label on this can, I got to have this label. It was made for what looks like the Bowie Bay Sox, which is the minor league team in and around where I grew up. I texted the picture of it to my brother and to my nephew, and they both responded to me almost at the same time saying, I have to have this. We all grew, or my nephew, not so much, but my brother and I grew up playing this game. And this beer label is just so cool. It looks just like the front of an old Nintendo game.
So that was Jim is drinking that?
Yeah, Jim Kudzall's drinking that.
Okay, so Jim, we need some labels for a few labels for Chris and his brother.
You know what? I think my brother would much just rather have the beer. Now my brother, he lives in Delaware, and he was in Virginia Beach the other night. You know, as a guy who is what? So what? I'm 39, so he's 50 right now. Is he? 38? Or no, 48. Whatever. He's 9 years older than I am, and I'm not doing math right now. But he is unofficially retired. Like he lives in Bethany Beach. He just does as he pleases. His wife works at home, so he's bouncing around over, going to Dave Matthews Band shows during the summer, and texting me pictures of all these beers and stuff he's been drinking, and it's really starting to piss me off. But I'm happy for him because he's happy. He found his happy place over at the beach. So, but I would love to be able to get that.
Wait, is he only hanging out Virginia Beach, or has he moved there?
No, he lives in Bethany Beach, which is in Delaware. And then,
you mentioned that. Yeah,
and then he was in Virginia Beach for a Dave Matthews show the other night, last night, 2 nights ago.
Okay, so he went there for the concert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if he was going to another one or two of them. Matt Knight again is checking into a house lager by Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers. Denny, I know that's on your list there.
Yeah. I want to visit that brewery and drink all their beer.
Yeah. Pizza and beer, a winning combination. He gave that one 3 3/4 caps on there. Mike Allen's been doing a little bit of drinking throughout my check-in list. Most recently, Mac the Ripper by Three Ravens Brewery. Still checking in at the Taco Mac. 3 3/4 caps. Yeah, Mac the Ripper at the Taco Mac. Tara Carlson, who was the winner of our Frost Buddy last show, is drinking a Hammer Time by Hysteria Brewing Company. The beer and the peanuts may be dinner. Good thing I am enjoying this beer that tastes like beer. So I guess you guys. Oh yeah, I see Jim's baseball can. No, you're not at the game. You guys are at home because I see his keys are in there too. You know what that means? That means that can is available for sale out in the wild. So yeah. 4-cap rating for that beer. From Tara. Let's see. Ooh, a good West Coast brewery. Jeff Seiler is drinking a Crush Cancer by Reuben's Brews. This is so good, he says. Super tasty, hazy IPA, and such a good cause. A big shout out to Denny Luce and Tap the Craft podcast for letting me know about Reuben's Brews. Delicious stuff. 4 1/4 caps.
I love Reuben's Brews.
Me too. And you know what's weird? At the last beer event that I went to, they had Reuben's there, and I was so excited to see them.
I am, as I mentioned before, I'm very pleased that I can get Reuben's here in town now. They deliver to Boise, and I just keep going and picking up 6-pack of Hazelicious, a 6-pack. I mean, I just keep picking up things, and it's just nice to have that available now. So I hope they keep bringing beers here and maybe some other varieties as well.
All right. Next on the list, go away. All right, Jeff Weesey is drinking a Dad Jokes by Cross Strain Brewing. Dank and nice straw color, medium body with a grassy hop finish. 4 1/2 caps for that one. Let's see, moving on up to. There we go. We got to continue his check-in streak for the 27,000th show in a row. Chad Lamassa is drinking the Chef by Homemade Brewing Company. Tons of mango and coconut. This would fit in well with the beers from Interchange Tiki Bar and Brewery, which took over Homemade's space. What do you mean by that, Chad? Is this an old beer? Like, what happened? Why'd you have this? And then somebody took over the space. 4 1/2 caps for this beer. Moving on up. John W.C. is checking into a handful of things as well. The Albino Stout by Butcher and the Brewer, and Peach County by Cider Boys Hard Cider. Mark Reedy, Shut Up and Adore Me.
Ooh.
Well, that's the beer he's drinking anyway. By Morgan Territory Brewing. He said it was very smooth Imperial Irish Stout in honor of my lady, whom I adore. had to have this one. Coffee and toasty notes, more effervescent than I expected, but that didn't take away from the flavor. I'll drink this again. 3 3/4 cap rating from Mark.
So I wonder if that would have benefited from being on Nitro if it was a little bit too effervescent.
Probably could have. I mean, the last few Irish stouts that I've had have been on Nitro, and
yeah,
and those things disappear fast.
Good, yeah. And okay, again, I'm just gonna make a comment. Everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of Nitro in my beer, but I do enjoy Irish Stout on Nitro.
I do too,
especially a good one. I'll talk about one I had in our new and noteworthy, so stick around.
All right. And because we already said his name, he had to go check into a beer. Eric Gronley is drinking a Bug Zapper by Omni Brewing Company. That's a great name for a beer. Wonderful gold color on this beer, almost 11%, and doesn't drink too boozy. Major pineapple, melon, apricot flavors going on. Very delicious treat to drink outside to wind down this evening. 4 1/4 caps from him. And we're going to refresh. Low Pitch Hazy IPA by Highwire Brewing. John W.C. is checking into this one as well. Plain and light taste. Decent creaminess and orange jam with a little berry and slight grass. 3 3/4 caps.
That's quite a complex flavors thing there, huh?
That's a hell of an explanation too.
Yeah. Nice.
Orange jam.
Yeah, orange jam. And it's interesting. I need to get better at combining things like that, right? I'll say it has an orange flavor, and I'll lose the type of flavor. I know it just tastes like orange, but it's like I just can't figure out what it is. And you know what? I think I need to incorporate that jammy character, because that's what it is, right? It's that jam, gelatinish, whatever the type flavor in there with the orange. It gives it that unique flavor, and that was a good description. Way to
Very
go,
good description.
John WC.
And come on, refresh. That's what everybody's drinking, Denny.
Okay. That's some fine beers right there, and a few breweries that are on my bucket list, and even beers on my bucket list as well. So come on, you guys are just taunting me with all your great beer drinking. But hey, I'm glad you guys have good beer in your area and really enjoying that. And Jeff Seiler, I'm glad you're able to get some Rubens and enjoy the fine beer that they put out as well. Okay. Now it's time for our Beer Speak 101 segment, where we briefly define common and not so common beer terminology. And in this episode, we will explain what it means when we talk about fining a beer. What do we mean when we talk about fining?
That the store you go to has it.
Yeah.
You go to the store.
Yeah, and you find it.
Yeah, and they got the beer you're looking for. You're finding beer.
So I mentioned fining when I talked about my buddy Alex Fuchs' homebrew, and how he's making beers, homebrew beers, that are perfectly clear. Well, guess what? That leads right into what I'm talking about, this terminology. You may not have known when I said the word finings what I was talking about. So the process of adding clarifying agents such as isinglass, gelatin, silica gel, or polyvinyl propyrrolidine, also known as PVPP, the beer during secondary fermentation to hasten the precipitation of suspended matter, such as yeast, proteins, or tannins. Basically, it allows these things to drop out, I guess, to make the beer more clear, so that when you put it into your bottle, you have a nice, clean, clear beer.
I've always known that as a flocculant.
No, flocculence is the yeast combined, like flock. Yeah, you know what? We could talk about that.
And I just like saying it.
Yeah, flocculant. But yeah, it's usually when the things like, actually, you might be right, but usually it's used in yeast, because yeast will flocculate and combine into these islands of clusters, or whatever you want to call flocks.
But you know what? Get them the flock out of my beer.
Yeah, get the flock out of my beer. By the way, we're not a comedy podcast, but I will tell you that on the way down to get to my daughters in Pocatello, we listened to the last episode, and I'll tell you what, my wife had some good chuckles in the stuff we were talking about. So hey, we are kind of funny sometimes.
We are hilarious. I don't care if anybody else thinks so. You and I are hilarious.
Yeah, but that's okay. We're just good old fun guys.
Go ahead, say it. You know you want to. You're waiting to make that mushroom joke.
Oh, okay. So, Chris, guess what? We're flying through this episode, but we do have our brew buzz topic, and because now it is time for our brew buzz segment, which is devoted to discussing various beer-related topics. This week we discussed the history of the Belgian Golden Strong Ale, as well as some style notes on this style. And again, this is going right down our list of different styles of Belgian beers. And I just love finding out. Here's what's if you actually are paying attention and listening to all the episodes, you're seeing that each of these stories that we tell about how a beer comes about, they're not all the same, right? It's not all the same story. They're all a little bit different on how they became a style in Belgium. This one's no different. It's got its own story. I did find information on 4 different sites online. I'll just read them real quick. You'll find links in the show notes if you want to go and visit these and read them in full. Very, very good, informative articles on the Belgian Golden Strong Ale and the Belgian Dark Strong Ale and stuff, but we're going to focus on the Golden Strong Ale. So the first one is Discovering a Belgian Strong Ale, History and Ingredients, found on the Birra Balladine website, which is an Italian website. The Belgian style Golden Ale, found on the Craft Beer Club. How has Duvel become so iconic? Found on the Belgian Schmack website. Schmack that Belgian. And that's, I think, is a Canadian site, or maybe it's a English site, UK site, maybe. I don't know. Belgian Strong Golden Ale, a devil in disguise, found on the kegerator.com website. And that was the only one that had an author that was associated with it, written by Nick Carr. So again, these links will be in the show notes. So Chris, let me start off. We're going to talk about the history first. So I'll start off and let you carry on here in a little bit. So Duvel has been responsible for spawning a whole new style of beer, the Belgian Golden Strong Ale, and is revered for its extremely pale color, its fermentation flavors, and its dryness, its carbonation, and its balance, and its drinkability. That's a lot of stuff that this beer has been revered for. It's iconic because its origin story symbolizes Belgium's rich brewing heritage and hints at the beer culture Belgium has shared for decades with other countries like the UK and Germany. The Belgian beer heritage has some unique I'm having trouble. Peculiarities. Is that? I don't think I either drank too much or not enough already,
It's
but
probably not enough.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's probably why.
Yeah, I'm not very good at pronouncing things, but
Peculiarities is a weird
it's a tough
one.
It's a tough one, yeah. Such as a historical preference for strong, complex beers, while other countries, such as England and Germany, have traditionally gone for light beers that are easy to drink. Also, Belgian brewers can hardly be pigeonholed. They love to experiment. They use spices, and in general, they have a very personal approach to brewing.
Yeah. So many Belgian beers are difficult to classify and are generally included in the large family of Belgian strong ales, which are strong beers with a rich aromatic profile, regularly drunk by Belgian consumers, especially those who are a few years older. Listen, I enjoy them too. So I guess call me old if you want to.
You are 39. You are old.
Is that the cutoff? Where's the cutoff?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm old, but I feel old sometimes.
Well, listen, maybe 39 here, 12 here forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Over time, though, they need to define some boundaries. Oh, I'm sorry. The need to define some boundaries has split this extended family into 2 different groups: Belgian Golden Strong Ales and Belgian Dark Strong Ales. This subdivision is not only based in color, they are specific. Hang on.
Take another. Let me fill my glass up because I think I'm going to need some more for this.
This article, when we talk about style notes, this is one of those. Yeah. Okay. There are specific organoleptic differences between the two groups, even if they're based on virtually the same brewing philosophy. I want to look that word up first, by the way.
Yeah.
Once you get into your section, I'm going to.
Okay.
The distinction also has age reasons. Golden strong ales are younger as they appeared after the First World War as a reaction to the growing popularity of pills.
Yeah, that was that statement right there is one of the things that was pretty common in all the articles I read, is that the Belgian wanted, I mean, they wanted to provide a beer that had characteristics that were closer to what was really booming in the time, which was German pills, and also English pale ales as well. And so they needed something that was lighter. And so that's the whole thing, is they had these darker ales, these Abbey ales, these doubles and stuff that had that darker character to it, and they wanted something that was lighter, blonde.
Yeah. So organoleptic.
Okay.
Which, by the way, nailed it.
Okay. Good
acting
job.
acting on. Oh, hey, I didn't hit share yet. That's why. Here.
Organoleptic.
See?
Oh, wow, that was really good. I heard in the background, but yeah, that was
acting on or involving the use of the sense organs. So not only are we learning about, beer styles, we're increasing your vocabulary.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
All right, now that we got our vocabulary lesson in for today, let's talk about, we already mentioned the brewery Duvel Morgat, and they're a big player in this whole golden strong ale style. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Morgat Brewery in Breendonk was founded in 1871 by Jean Leonard Morgat. He came from a family of brewers, and the idea of starting his own operation appealed to his sense of family tradition. At first, the brewery did little to stand out among the 4,000 other breweries in the business at the time, operating much like any other farmhouse brewery with an eye towards the dark farm ales. Over time, though, Jean Leonard gained a following. In 1900, he handed over the brewery operation to his sons, Albert and Victor. During the First World War, the door was open for English beer styles to leave their mark on Belgium. Seeing the popularity of the English ales, Albert decided to take advantage and began to concoct a plan to create his own beer based on English ales. In 1918, the brewery released a dark beer influenced by English brewing. They named it Victory Ale to commemorate the end of the war.
In that same year, Albert traveled extensively in the UK, searching for a yeast source that would bring him that much closer to his aspiration of a perfectly inspired English ale. This search, it is said, did not sit well with many of his Belgian compatriots or the suspicious UK brewers he went snooping around. He finally got a break in Scotland, where he was able to procure a bottle of McEwen's Scotch ale.
So this is interesting because that ale is still being brewed today, right?
Yeah.
It's one you can buy right now. And it's funny because this is almost like corporate spying, right? He's going
Espionage.
He's
Yeah.
going out and he's searching for ways that he can somehow steal the secrets of these English breweries or find the secret ingredient inside this beer and reproduce it himself to build up these English beer styles, right? These cleaner or these clearer beers that have that flavor profile he's looking for. So I just thought this was pretty funny.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool because now that he's searching for this yeast source, that leads us to the next part of it. He enlisted Jean de Clercq, a famed Belgian brewing science pioneer, to help tease apart and analyzed the yeast. I know, I felt the same way. Just to tease it apart. The sample turned out to contain somewhere between 10 and 20 different strains. Through the painstaking process of isolation and testing, a single strain was finally chosen as having the most potential. This strain is still used in the brewing of Duvel today.
Okay, so imagine there were 10 to 20 different strains of yeast in this beer that makes this Scottish ale, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to pick out the one that's going to be that's going to give him what he wants, and I guess he finds one he liked, or somehow I don't even know how. I'm assuming they pulled it out, they grew it, then they did a little test batch of a small batch of beer, and saw what it could do, what the flavor profile was, and he chose that one strain. But who knows what that one strain really was? But now that strain is the beer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious to know what that search process looks like. You go, yeah, number 6, that's the one we want. Yeah. The new strain was put to work in the Victory Ale. The new creation was still strong and dark, but now carried with it a noticeable and unique fruitiness. A new beer deserves a new name, and Victory Ale was about to get its famed rebranding. The story goes that in 1923, during a tasting session of the beer, a local shoemaker named Van de Woer was so taken with the beer, he shouted, "This is a real devil!" I'm not reading.
You didn't say it.
No,
you didn't say
listen,
it in the.
I read ahead on my notes just to make sure. No doubt, referring to the beer's fine 8.5% drop kick. The name stuck, and the beer gained so much popularity over the years that in 1960, the brewery even invented a new beer glass, the Tulip, specifically for the enjoyment of Duvel.
Yeah, so that phrase shout out was "Dit is in ik Duvel," and Duvel became the name of the beer.
Okay,
They just shortened it. Yeah. So hey, I wasn't scared to say it. I wasn't scared.
Hey, you go right ahead. German's not my strong suit.
You need another 14% beer, 14.5% beer for a 19.2 ounce, 14.5% beer like last show.
Oh, this one's 12 and some change. So I'm right there.
All right. So more changes came for the beer in 1970. Taste in Europe had been slowly shifting for some time towards the new pale lagers. To cater to the changing whims of the buying public, Morgat decided to dress their devil in the same golden finery that it was bringing their new rival such acclaim. Once again, the brewery company looked to Jean de Klerk to figure out the best way to make the change. To make the beer light-colored but keep at its original strength was no mean feat. In his book, Brew Like a Monk, Stan Hieronymus explains that they did it by experimenting with malting processes in-house. The brewery performed its own malting until 1980, until they were able to make a Pilsner malt light enough to do the trick. Along with this change in malt came the addition of dextrose to help strengthen the beer without adding unwanted color. The brewing and maturation process was also adjusted, becoming longer and quite elaborate. These changes took time, but finally culminated in the style-defining rendition we know today.
I want to just say I love this writer. He uses some great words in here. I mean, we talked about and we joked about the our vocabulary lesson when he was talking about where was the word? I mean, he even used words like pigeonhole.
So keep in mind that this is a culmination of 4 different articles. So I've interspliced different things in here. It's not all one.
Okay.
I mix and match to follow the storyline that I want to follow. So that's why.
Well, and I the one that stood out to me was the organoleptic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just, like I said, it's a fun word to say, but in one of the articles, somebody mentioned the 8.5% drop kick.
Yeah.
We could have just said 8.5% ABV, but I appreciate the word drop kick when explaining that. That's so much better. Okay. Well, the Belgian style golden ale is a deceiving brew whose pale color gives the impression that it will be innocent and easy to drink, when in reality, it is known for its strong alcoholic punch, punches and drop kicks. I love it. Due to this devious illusion, the benchmark Belgian style golden strong ale example is the Duvel from Belgium, which translates to devil. Belgian style, I should name my next Belgian dog that. Yeah, I'm going to name him Duvel. Yeah, that's it. His name's going to be Duvel. Actually, God, I might get grief for this one. It'd probably be a female. Belgian style golden ales typically range from a pale to golden color. Despite their strong alcoholic character, the beer is light bodied. The Belgian style golden ale recipe puts more emphasis on the hops than it does malt character, but still makes use of the flavors from the Pilsner malt that it uses. Being heavily hopped with Czech Satz hops, the Belgian golden ale style generally has a strong floral hop aroma, semi-fruity hop flavor, and medium hop bitterness.
The Belgian ale use gives the Belgian style golden ale a certain degree of spiciness and a highly attenuated dry finish. In total, the beer style undergoes 3 fermentations, with the final one occurring in the bottle. The end result is a well-carbonated brew with a significant rocky head. In order to gain roundness, the Belgian Golden Strong Ale style may even be cellared for more than 6 months. This fruity and complex beer has an ABV that typically ranges from 7 to 11% and is best served chilled in a tulip glass. Chilling the Belgian Golden Ale can help minimize the strong alcoholic taste and mouthfeel. Again, when you chill it, you're going to, when you drink it, you're going to kind of numb some of those taste buds in there. That's why it it tends to minimize
Sneak up on you.
Yeah. When pairing with food, the matches can range from light and salty appetizers to bold, hearty meals. But over everything, this beer complements spicy platters brilliantly. I can imagine. And this is a beer, I mean, Chris, we've already talked about trying to go and do some tasting notes on some of these beers. So we should probably add a Duvel. I think John and I did a Duvel when we first did the show, but we can do it again. Now that we've gone 8 years, we can try again with your tasting palate and my even more refined tasting palate than I had before.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And we were talking about doing some Chimay beers.
Chimay,
too.
Yeah, let's do some Chimay, do some Duvel. Let's get some Belgian.
Well, you know what? I don't have any appointments on my day tomorrow, and I was going to go pick up my beers from Cigar City too. So I might just have to stop at the beer store. I might have to stop at Total Wine or something and take a look at what's there. So you might get a random text from me in the afternoon going, "What about this one? What about this one?"
Yeah. I'll point out. Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll schedule some of these tasting in our next episode, so you guys can hear our own descriptions of these beers.
Because I mean, I've got some Golden Monkey in the fridge right now.
I know. I need to find Golden Monkey again. I just don't think we're getting Victory anymore in the area, but I need to see if they are.
Funny that we were talking about a Victory ale.
Yeah.
In these articles too. So some popular examples to try. Well, Duvel from Brewery Duvel Mortgat. Yeah. They're in Belgium. Delirium Tremens, which man,
I do like that beer.
I love them too. Yeah. I just got a glass from them the other day.
I got a glass too. When we do that, we can get this one too. When we get this one, we can both use our glasses.
Wait, you have one too?
Yeah. I have the Delirium Tremens. I think it's the Tremens glass. It's the pink elephants on it, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Next on the list, Brooklyn Local 1 from Brooklyn Brewing Company out of Brooklyn, New York. The Prankster from North Coast.
I have that beer in my fridge right now.
I know I can get that one. I've seen that every time.
One. I have it. I've been saving this. I bought a bunch of North Coast when I was doing those videos, and I was doing tasting notes of the things, and I was going to do a whole series on North Coast brewing, and I just stopped because I ran out of time.
Yeah. Let's see. Damnation from Russian River.
Oh, I love that beer. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
If anybody wants to send me a bottle of that, go ahead. Melange à Trois from Nebraska Brewing Company in Papillon, Nebraska. Confluence from Allagash. Connor, you have to get on that one.
Yeah.
They're out of Portland, Maine. Horny Devil from AleSmith Brewing Company out of San Diego. Duvel Rustica by Omegang in Cooperstown, New York. And Inferno from Lost Abbey Brewing in San Marcos, California.
Yeah. These are a bunch of varieties that I think people from around the country and even around the world can try. So anyone listening, there's at least one beer on here you should be able to find and try for yourself.
Yeah.
Look at that, Chris. We busted through that very long history of the Belgian Golden Strong Ale. What do you think, Chris? You enjoy that?
I did enjoy that one because it was a lot of good information, but it was also a lot of fun to read.
Yeah, and I just thought, again, the story this is telling is that this brewery, this brewery owner wanted to go out and brew beer like a lot of the people did in Germany and England, and he went out and stole some yeast.
And then good.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's a great story, and now it's a famous beer. So yeah, good for him. Good for him. Okay, well that's our brew buzz, but we're not done yet. We've got one more topic, one more segment to hit your ears with. This is our new and noteworthy beer. We didn't do this segment last week because we had such a great conversation with Connor Larson. We ran out of time, but we're going to go ahead and cover some of the beers that we didn't talk about last episode, as well as a couple new ones that I have on here. Maybe Chris has a couple new ones too. But Chris, why don't you start us off and talk about your new and noteworthy beers?
So I'll admit I didn't update anything from. It was just like I told you when we got started, man. It's been a weird couple of days. We'll just say that. And admittedly, being able to get on here and talk to you, Denny, if you were to see the Zoom, like when I start our Zoom meeting and I'm getting on here and doing my notes and stuff, I'm so glad that I delete what's recorded in the beginning because it's beer helps. Let's just say that.
Good. Okay. Beer helps.
So I haven't updated anything from our last time that we were going to read these, but that just means I have more beers to talk about when our next episode shows up. So first one on the list is going to be from Goose Island. It's their Bourbon County Classic Cola Stout. Now, I bought this one with a little hesitation, but it didn't fail me. I was really surprised, and even had a couple of people reach out on my check-in and tell me the same thing, that I was really surprised with this one. This one was man, I could have checked into a lot of things for the last time we were on here. But yeah, they're classic cola stout, and it was of course they don't have any freaking notes on their check-in page, but it was meant to taste like, well, cola, right? And initially I was looking at that going, okay, you're gonna mix a cola style drink with a bourbon, maybe some sort of barrel, and I don't have the notes on specifically what it is mixed with, but man, I really like this beer. So much so that it was 4.5 caps. Now, it was a little sweet. Denny, I believe you would have found it a little too sweet for your liking. But I did share it. I did share it with somebody, so it wasn't like I was drinking the whole 16-ounce bottle myself. But it was sweet, and there was some vanilla in it, and there was that kind of Coke or a cola has some kind of like spiciness to it, not heat wise, but like cooking spices that just really played well together. And a little barrel aging on it. Other than it being really, like I said, on the sweet side, it was a really good beer. So gave it 4.5 caps on that one. Corporate Ladder over in Palmetto, Florida. Pencil You In, which was a pastry stout, which again, I have been trying to stay away from the pastry stouts, just because, well, like the last one, they're usually super sweet. adjunct this and adjunct that. And this was an imperial stout conditioned on hazelnut, cacao nibs, and roasted peanuts, meant to emulate a famous hazelnut and chocolate spread. It rhymes with schmoochtella, and a peanut butter sandwich, right? So you're trying to match the two together. This beer I ended up giving a 4.75 rating. What the reason that it wasn't a full 5 cap rating is because it was too sweet.
Okay.
Right, and that's just when they're too sweet, it's just hard to drink after a while. But man, it was really good too. And the last,
hey Chris,
yeah.
I need to go. I didn't go to the bathroom before I came up. So I'm going to step out. You can finish your thing. I'll be back.
Oh, you know, it's going to be quick. You pee quick.
Okay.
Go.
I will.
Shoot. He's going to make me sit here and read my last check-in without him. Now I got to find it. There it is. And the last one on my list was going to be from Dade City Brew House. I'm trying to find the notes for this one too, but Dade City Brew House out of Dade City, Florida. It was their Keep 'em Coming, and this was their Kolsch. And I have just been enjoying a good Kolsch, especially being during the summer. It's just nice to have these beer flavored beers. This beer for me got a 4 cap rating. Was able to get over there. This place is about an hour north of my house, so I'm not normally in that area too much, but was really happy to get a hold of this one. Crisp and clean and just really easy to drink. So they keep them coming from Dade City. And I had one other one that I'll read that's not even on my list was can't even pronounce this one. Superliminal Haze from Magnanimous Brewing, which is out of Tampa, Florida. That Denny, I'm reading another one since you bailed on me. So it's the Superliminal Haze from Magnanimous Brewing. This beer it's a double dry hopped Imperial IPA with Citra, Mosaic, and Pacific Sunrise hops. I thought it was actually very smooth. Someone else who's listening to the show felt that it had a little bit of hop burn to it. But I tend to disagree with him. But it was really good. Even my check-in for it at 4.5 caps was no hop burn, Connor. Those are my 4 beers. I'll get that updated on our list here while you're reading yours, but those are my check-ins. Denny, are you ready to tell everybody about your new and noteworthy beers? Because I'm really curious about the third one on your list.
Okay. Yeah. So I already mentioned the beer I just got done drinking, my Jim Dandy Brewing's Wild Bill Amber Ale. That's a 5 cap rating. So I already mentioned that one early in the show. I have another 5 cap rating beer that I'm going to talk about. It's from Deschutes Brewery. We've already gone through our favorite B breweries. Oh, you know what? We got to start that back up again as when we get done with the Belgian thing.
Don't forget too, Aria said, hey, listen, what about from your favorite individual states too?
That's right.
That gives us a list of 50 more shows.
That's right. Wow, that could definitely get long. But Deschutes Brewery, it's their Abyss series, and this is a special release, Abyss Coconut Imperial Stout. And I love Abyss. It's their Imperial Stout beer. And in the last few years, they've been doing variants of it and adding, putting it into special barrels or adding some adjuncts to it. And this is the coconut one. My buddy Alex Fuchs, wow. No, my buddy Sean Lloyd, brought this to my house. We had a little get together the weekend before last, and I had some, barbecued up some fajitas and had a few people over, and he brought over some beers. Went on my own taps and found all the beers he brought were ones I hadn't had before, which was what a great friend. He brought this beer because he saw that I hadn't had it, and we're both big fans of the Abyss. I gave this beer a 5 cap rating, and here's what I said about it. Wow, This beer smells boozy, but ends up being very smooth. So many great flavors: coconut, chocolate, licorice, and whiskey character from the barrel makes this beer great. Thanks, Sean. Again, 5 cap rating, and if you can find this beer, go get it. You will not be disappointed. It's a great beer. Then the next beer is from pFriem Family Brewers, and this is a beer that I got a 4 pack when I went to Oregon. I got it as a drinking beer as I was staying in Oregon for that week. And I got to find this beer in my list here. Shoot, what's wrong? I'm not very organized here, but there's the pickle beer.
That's what she said. No, that doesn't work. Listen, they can't all be winners, okay? You can throw it out there. It doesn't always fit.
Let me just say that I have drank so many beers since we last talked about it. Okay, so the pFriem Kolsch. Did I say that? pFriem Family Brewers Kolsch. I give this a 4.5 cap rating. Very smooth and refreshing Kolsch. Light cereal malt with a very pleasant, dry citrus, fruity hop essence. Essence, not overly hop, just an essence of that hop in the finish. After 10 hours of driving and many delays due to road construction, it's a needed relief. Yeah, this was the beers I was drinking when I got on the trip. We drove through Bend. We took the long route. We drove through Bend and we stopped and I grabbed a 4 pack of this and got back to the hotel and then drank a few of these when I got there. Great beer, 4.5 cap rating. I recommend anyone that can get this beer that enjoys a very good, refreshing Kolsch. It's a beer you got to try. Then the one that caught Chris's interest. Oh my gosh, I drank way too much.
No. Remember, you do it for
I might have a problem.
Listen, remember one of our old sponsors, Brewer shirts? They had the shirt that said craft beer. It's not a problem. It's a hobby.
Yeah. Okay, my next beer is from Powderhaus Brewing here in Boise. And let me tell you, it's a brewery that every time I go and drink at it, I always come back like, why don't I drink more of their beer? The reason is it's not close to where I live, so I go to other places that are closer, and they only have a few things that they actually can and distribute out to where I can get. So I just don't make it, and I don't see a lot of it. But I went with my buddy Alex Fuchs when he was here, and all 3 beers I had that night were all like top rated beers, really good beers. But this is the one I want to talk about because it's a unique beer. And I think we've talked about this type of beer on here before. For one thing, it's Powderhaus Gherkin Gose, and it's a pickle Gose. This is a pickled Gose beer, and
Go on.
And I've heard about it, and every time I've gone to get it, you have to get it at the brewery, and I just haven't gone out there to get it before it ran out. And this beer, I think, empties out pretty quick because it's a fantastic Gose. So I said, I've been wanting to try this beer for years, and now the time has come. Really well done Gose with just enough tart and pickle flavored, finishing with saltiness. Delicious. 4.5 cap rating. So I don't rate these as like fruited beers. Like Gose is a Gose. I don't discern between whether it's fruited or had some added to it. And it's a 4.5 cap rating, and it's got dill pickle flavor, and it's really good. So, Dan
really Charlie wants to know, how's it Gose?
It's Gosing great.
It's Gosing good. Gosing good here.
And then the other beer from Powderhaus Brewing, again, two beers made it on my new and noteworthy. Powderhaus Brewing's Cub Stout, American Stout. Come on, you gotta love the name, Cub Stout.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this beer was fantastic. I said chocolate and mild roast coffee on the nose and in the upfront flavor. There's a caramel flavor in the mid with a solid bitter finish. exactly what I expect in an American stout. Great beer, 4.5 cap rating. I I love that. I could drink this American stout all the time. It's so good and just really hit everything I enjoy in in an American stout. And again, two very strong beers of a brewery that's close to me that I should be drinking more of, and I need to make an effort to go and drink more. Um, okay, and then the last beer that I'm going to talk about, yes, I'm going to finish it off here, is a Jim Dandy beer from my trip I just went last weekend, and it's the O'Malley Irish Dry Stout on Nitro. And I said, even with the nitro, this roasty malt is prominent with mild coffee and chocolate notes. Super smooth, creamy, and silky. So damn good. Glad I was able to get some before it was all gone. They put this beer on like 2 months ago. Shocked that there's still kegs of this beer available. But there was, and I gave it a 4.5 cap rating. So all my beers were 4.5 and above. And there was a lot other beers that I could have talked about, but because I had so many beers I drank, I didn't want to, I had to keep it short. So I kept it to 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Now, I need to make a comment. Again, people have been writing in talking about my comments I make about Untapped, getting rid of my check-ins. So I have a new thing to add. Now, I'm not crazy. Untapped is like removing valid check-ins from my unique check-ins. And how do I know this? Because this weekend when I was at Jim Dandy, who I've drank, I can list every single beer I've had from them. Of all their beers, I've almost had all of them except for maybe 10 beers they've released. I've had almost all of them. There were two beers that I drank multiple times, and I know that I checked into because when I went to see if I checked into it, I saw I had already checked into it, and they were removed from my unique check-ins from the beer. And they were unique beers. They weren't even beers that they released like multiple times. Well, actually there was one, but it wasn't a dated one. So they are removing my valid check-ins, and I don't understand why. I'm still under 46. I keep going. I go up above 4,600, and all of a sudden I've got, like, I go back down below 4,600 on my unique. They keep removing like 20 to 50 beers all the time. So I'm not crazy.
So that's why I'm catching up with you.
And I don't know why it bothers me so much, except for it pisses me off that they shouldn't be removing my valid check-ins. So. And I go to the little thing about the every time I go to that beer thing to check what in the last 120 days that they've removed because it was invalid, 0 beer shows up. My stuff is getting scrubbed with no record of what's being scrubbed. That's not right. So that's my complaint. I'm off my soapbox now.
That's it. We're tagging them. We're tagging them on Facebook.
No.
Why?
Because then they'll clear out they'll close my account. Actually, you know what?
At this point, what?
At this point, why am I doing it? I'm never going to get 5,000. I've been on the road to 5,000 for like half my Untapped life.
Dan says it's a conspiracy. Yeah. He also wants to know who writes in anymore. As far as, well, if you do it, it's here on Casey Kasem, Dan, Charlie.
Oh, Dan, Charlie.
Yeah, he wants to know if you use your little Orphan Annie decoder ring too. Listen, we drank a lot of Ovaltine to get that decoder ring, Dan. Okay, once it showed up, served its purpose.
All right. Well, you know what? I guess it's time to close this show out. But before we do that, I always want to give you a chance, Chris, to raise a glass. So who would you like to raise a glass to tonight?
I want to raise a glass to my buddy Tim Johnson. And no, Dan, not the Tim Johnson that works in your office.
Not the top-notch IT guy.
Oh, stop it. You're going to get us all fired. But my buddy Tim Johnson here in the Tampa area, just a good friend of mine. He's been bouncing around with his family, going to Disney and softball. And, his daughter just started her senior year in high school. I think it was today or yesterday. Buddy, cheers to you. You and I are due for lunch over at Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Anytime you want to. Okay. But just want to raise a glass to my buddy Tim. Appreciate you, Tim. And hopefully we get to see you soon. I love you, buddy. And Denny, who would you like to raise a glass to this evening?
I'm raising a glass to our Patreon toast of the night to Chad Lamassa, keeping his check-in streak at what, 27,000? He's the man. Thank you, Chad, for your support. And that's it. I think. I don't know. I probably should raise my glass to other people, but I'm not prepared.
That's okay. We can do some Carson or Connor next time you come in here. We can do some day dunking over at Tampa Bay Brewing Company too.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. And of course, I got to raise my glass to all the servicemen and women out there protecting our freedoms. Thank you for your service and cheers to you. And please return home safely to your families soon. And of course, Chris, give a toast out to our sponsor.
Our sponsor, Frost Buddy, right? Yeah. It's the specializing in cooling containers for your beverage of choice. Frost Buddy has the Universal Buddy 2.0, which is right here, which is the world's first universal can cooler for 12-ounce cans, slim cans, bottles, and even 16-ounce cans. But don't ask them about the Modelo bottles. Okay. Frost Buddy also has the world's first universal wine cooler, 24-ounce stainless steel mugs, and even stainless steel dog bowls. Go visit their website at frostbuddy.com.
So, Chris, I didn't realize. So the fat bottom Modelos don't fit in?
They don't. They had something on their Facebook page the other day that I don't know if it was a joke or if it was serious, but they said that their Modelo model coming soon.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know if it was real or not.
It was not April 1st, so it's probably real.
Yeah, so.
All right. Well, hey, you can find the beers and the links to the articles mentioned on the show in our show notes located on the show post at taptocraft.com. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Tapped at Loose Screw. Chris, how can our listeners follow you?
You can never find me on Twitter on Chris_McKenzie82. Actually, I shared a couple of things on Twitter the other day. I don't know. Maybe it's a new thing for me. But you can always find me on Untapped and Instagram at MCK1345, or follow us and interact with us on everything social at Tap the Craft.
All right, it is last call. It's time to bring the show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading and listening. We ask you to please tell a friend and, of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. As a reminder, we release a new show every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.